Yo, we are back with another gaming breakdown, a segment where we talk about up-and-coming games and whether or not we should get our hopes up. And today, we are talking about Space Marine 2. Now, I've been looking forward to this game for quite some time. I have been trying to get a review copy so I could give you guys some feedback, but the people over at Focus Entertainment are not budging. So we're going to cover what we know so far. First, let's address the canceled beta and just how good this game looks, because people are saying it looks a little too good to be true. And yes, I fully understand that we have been burnt in the past with more than enough titles that did not live anywhere close to their hype. I think we're all just scared of another Gotham Knights or Skull and Bones, if I'm being fully transparent, so it's understandable that something that looks as good as Space Marine 2 without anyone having gotten their hands on it yet does have what it takes to make a gamer grip their wallet and remain skeptical. But what I'm finding impressive is what has been showcased for Space Marine 2, which is the progress with the swarm tech. Now, this tech isn't new by any means. It was originally made for World War Z about 5 years ago, and maybe a few other games that I'm not aware of, but if you compare that gameplay to what Space Marine 2 is showcasing, the leaps it's made since then are notable and very impressive. However, the daunting question that I keep asking myself is, are we going to see differences in performance between hardwares when the game finally does release? Those being PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC versions of the game. Then there's the cancellation of the open beta, all of which was due to the team stating that the game was not quite where they wanted it to be. They stated that spending additional time working on whatever issues they already know of is more important than pushing out a beta. And while canceling a beta does feel bad at face value, I think it says more about their understanding of their own game. Upsetting news? Absolutely, but this should be met with more praise than anything. The point of a beta typically is to stress test servers, discover any problems or bugs, and any other issues so they can later be corrected, which ultimately assures a smoother launch day. So the decision to allocate time into polishing and addressing known issues rather than push out a beta, in my eyes, was the right move. Now, the beta was canceled around July 1st, judging by the date of the articles. Then a little over a week later, via a tweet on X, Space Marine 2 went gold, meaning no delays, and the official launch date was rock solid. So with all of that taken into account, I'm in belief that they know what they're doing over at Saber, and I think the game is going to flow just fine. Sure, there might be a few launch day bugs, but that's with almost any game these days. The next thing I want to go into is the story. Will this be friendly for people who are unfamiliar with Warhammer 40k? Because I can tell you safely that I am among that group of people. I've spoken to my friends about the history of the game in depth, and the overwhelming consensus is that the lore runs deep. I mean, the universe started back in 1987, making it 37 years old. It also began as a tabletop game. Then, as it grew in popularity, turned into several different games, with some of the most popular ones being Darktide, that came out back in 2022, and the original Space Marine back in 2011. So newcomers might not get all of the references, nod, and mentions that could be in Space Marine 2, meaning the story will need to be incredibly well written for people to really enjoy that aspect. While people who do know Warhammer lore will be able to tell us if the story was good and enjoy it on a deeper level. Now, the final, and arguably one of the biggest things that could make or break Space Marine 2 is going to be the multiplayer, which at first glance has my Gears of War sense tingling. I don't know about you, but I have been itching for a new Gears game for years, and I think this one just might scratch it. However, as someone who has not played the first Space Marine, I only have a small idea on how this multiplayer is going to function. For starters, there are character classes with different playstyles. Some are melee focused, some are snipers, tanks, people can fly. All of this is leading to believe that this battlefield is going to be a beautiful mix of chaos and brutality if they do it right. The matches are advertised to be 6v6. There are 3 different game modes: Annihilation, which could be a team deathmatch style of game, Seize Ground, which might be a King of the Hill variant, and Capture and Control being the last listed that could very well be a Ground War clone. Personally, I am predicting multiplayer balances with weapons, as anyone should with a game like this. It's just a really common practice with almost any multiplayer game these days. Another thing to note is that it was stated that you can add weapons to your arsenal as you play and level up, meaning loadouts could very well be a thing, but personally, what I would like to see is power weapons still be on the map, similar to your Halos and Gears of War, ones you don't unlock for a loadout. This just gives a reason for teams to coordinate positioning and control parts of a map to get those items, or in short, incentivize teamwork. Furthermore, the map designs look outstanding so far. Optimistically speaking, I'm hoping for 10 to 12 maps at launch. That's usually a healthy number for new multiplayer shooters, Once again, Gears of War, Halo, and even Call of Duty ran with that for many years. So seeing something as promising as Space Marine 2, it would be awesome for them to follow suit. However, 3 game modes at launch is concerning. Games that come to mind right off the top of the head is Gears of War 1, which did have success with it, but that was a shiny new penny when it dropped. Fast forward to recent days, we had Halo Infinite that also released with 3 game modes, and that ship has all but sank to the bottom of the ocean at this point. Now, I don't think that would be the case for Space Marine 2, but if that multiplayer gameplay is not captivating, it could be unfavorable. Now, another aspect that people are pleased with is the fact that microtransactions for Space Marine 2 are stated to be cosmetic only. No pay-to-win items whatsoever. And yeah, I agree, it is nice to know that people can't swipe their card to get a win, but this troubles me in the same way Call of Duty troubles me. We are all aware that COD devs are notorious for reworking weapon balances, and while it is unconfirmed that it's planned this way, I've always found it convenient that meta weapons of that season had 2 or 3 cosmetic bundle tracer packs. Then the next weapon balance, new skins are available again, only to see your previous weapon nerfed. Now, I'll say it again, this isn't confirmed in a total conspiracy theory, but the M4 was the meta weapon for many seasons, and then to see it get nerfed after purchasing 3 or 4 skins for it, it just never felt good, and I don't want to see that happen with Space Marine 2. Also, I wanted to briefly touch on the additions for the game they have available, the base, gold, and ultra edition, 2 of which come with early access in the season pass, and 1 that comes with special cosmetic items called the Ultramarine Pack. So it will be up to you to determine if this is something you want to spend the extra cash on. For me personally, I don't believe it's worth it unless you actually want to play early. It's just really hard to see the value here except for satiating the FOMO of not having those armor pieces, and season passes can be purchased at any time, so it's really easy to just wait on. But that's going to wrap it up for this game breakdown, and based off of what you have seen and heard, what do you anticipate for the new shooter? Do you have high hopes? Are you getting one of the special editions? We can chat down in the comments. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you all in the next one.